Oh, light on is off? Oh, well, okay. Well, there we go. Welcome to the 2024 County Home Consortium and Urban County Public Hearing. I wanted to thank everyone for taking their time to be here today. In the room, I have Mayor Smoka, Mayor Barney, Mayor Hall, and Mayor Stevenson. And then I can't see online, but I think, who's online? Yeah, it's not showing me any of the mayors though.
We have Mayor Palmer.
Hi, Mayor Palmer. I think we have Mayor Silvestrini online too, right? Do we have Mayor Wood online? I know she was planning to be in person, but maybe she's online. Oh, hi, Mayor Wood. And then I think we have, let's see, Mayor Bush. Is she online?
I'm not seeing it on.
Okay. And then what about Mayor Clayton?
Mayor Clayton hasn't signed in yet.
Okay. And Mayor Wickers?
Has not signed in yet.
And Mayor Burke? Okay. Do we want to hold on for a minute or maybe just give them another minute and see if they jump on? Is that okay? Okay. And can we also check, I think Kelly Chalberg is on for Draper, and then Ryan Carter was representing Riverton as well. I don't know if you see their names on there as well. Okay. We'll just give one more minute and then we'll just start. If you wouldn't mind just looking for them and then letting us know when they join, that would be great. Okay, let's start. We're going to jump right in. I want to thank the funding committees for their time and help in reviewing all the requests for these funds. This has been a nearly 8-month process that began in October of 2023 to disseminate nearly $6.1 million in HUD funding. Reminder, this is a public hearing and all comments will become public record. And I would like to introduce our Housing and Community Development Operations Manager, Jennifer Jimenez, and she's going to go through just how it's going to unfold today and the deep dive of what we're going to do today.
Thank you. I'm going to give a brief overview of the process for this hybrid public meeting and also just explain our funding sources. This public hearing is part of a federal participation process requirement that we have to conduct annually, if not more, throughout the year. The process is to engage our local community by providing information about current community and housing needs. This process is to engage our community by also providing information and also give a chance to the public to review our proposed uses of funds. We are currently in a 30-day public comment period that started on April 2nd, and it is ending May 4th. Any comments made throughout that time will be given to the mayors to make their final recommendation after the public comment period closes. All funding being allocated in this meeting is federal block grants, and there's also a pass-through grant that comes from the state. We have 4 grants that include Community Development Block Grant, Emergency Solutions Grant, and Social Services Block Grant that is offered through the state of Utah, and our Home Investment Partnership Program. So our Community Development Block Grant is in the 50th year since its existence. It was enacted in Congress in 1974 under our Housing and Community Development Act. This funding is used to provide decent, safe, and affordable housing and to expand opportunities for low to moderate income households. Our current allocation is estimated to be $2.4 million. Our Emergency Solutions Grant is currently roughly over $200,000. And it exclusively focuses on homelessness or preventing homelessness. Sorry, I lost my notes. Currently, also for our Home Investment Partnership, we have estimated about 1.8 that has been allocated to provide rental assistance as long as creating and maintaining safe and decent affordable housing. We also have our SSBG program, which is our social services block grant that is offered through the state, and I believe that is roughly over $300,000. Here we go. Our committees have reviewed the applications, they went through a process, and now we're also we're seeking guidance from the public in this process. Now, as you know, this meeting is a hybrid format and it's to increase engagement. Our team will manage the WebEx platform and the in-person comments. I believe there will be a smart sheet on the screen that will demonstrate who is up next in your speaking numbers. We will have approximately 3 minutes per speaker. And now I will turn it over to Dan to explain the process and open the public comment period.
Okay. As you can see on the screen, this is our speaker list as of right now. I will be showing this throughout the duration of the public comments to show who will be speaking and who is next in queue. It says the individual's name, the organization they're representing, if any, and the reference number that they are speaking to, if any. You will see on queue people listed as yellow. If they are the active speaker, I will put them to green. The next 2 people will be listed as on deck. You will also notice a timer on the screen that will show up. As Jennifer mentioned, there will be a 3-minute timer for each speaker. So please try to keep your comments within that time limit. If you are speaking to more than one application or reference number, we can try to allow some more time, but depending on how many speakers we have, that might not be possible. I think we are ready to begin. Speaking is a first come, first serve speaking order. So we are going to start with our first speaker, Brian Diggs from Family Promise. We ask that as you come up here, please state your own first and last name and who you're representing and what you're speaking about, just for the public record. Thank you.
My name is Brian Diggs. I'm the Executive Director of Family Promise, Salt Lake City. I'm speaking on the recommendation for... Start over? Okay. Hi, my name is Brian Diggs. I'm the Executive Director of Family Promise in Salt Lake City, one of over 200 affiliates across the country, and I'm here to speak about the latest CDBG grant that we've been recommended for, or at least a continuation. Family Promise Salt Lake actually started 28 years ago. It's a unique community-based way to reach out specifically to homeless families and to offer them shelter and, just as importantly, case management, and maybe most importantly, that community-based approach, as we have folks from all over the community that are offering resources to the families that we serve. Coming out of COVID, one of the things that we did is we changed our model. It used to be that our families rotated from one church to the next on a weekly basis. Coming out of COVID, we changed that model to be more trauma-informed, or TIC, or trauma-informed care. So now we have static site shelters in churches across the valley that house these families, and we use community members from those churches and other organizations to offer the kind of support that we need. One of the things that we've noticed about moving to a static site shelter is that it's allowed the families in our programs to nest in a little bit more and to spend more time on case management. And that's the funding that we've been recommended for, is specifically for case management. Last fiscal year, 22 to 23, we had an 85% success rate in placing our families into affordable and sustainable housing. And I think key to that actually was that intentional case management that they had time to engage in because they weren't moving from week to week. So all that said, one of the things I believe about our program is that it's a program first that offers shelter to these families, and it's the community that comes in and provides that necessary support. So on behalf of myself, our staff, especially the case management staff, and the board of directors, I want to thank you all for the recommendation.
Next up is Danny from VOA.
Good afternoon, members of the County Council. My name is Danny Knives, and I'm the Division Director of Youth Homeless Services for Volunteers of America, Utah, and I'll be speaking on the Youth Resource Center Diversion Program today. Firstly, I want to extend my gratitude for the County Council for your support and commitment to addressing the challenges faced by homeless youth in our community. Throughout the funding our diversion team this initial year, you've supported almost 400 youth gaining access to the Youth Resource Center. More importantly, this calendar year, we've already diverted 16 youth from the shelter, which is not only a more cost-effective way to divert from shelter, but a more trauma-informed and person-first approach to ending homelessness. These youth who are diverted from shelter are not just numbers, but they're stories of resiliency and dreams and potential that we have to help unlock. As we look to the future, we recognize the ongoing challenges that lie ahead and the continuous need for support. With this, I stand before you today to ask for your approval for the recommendation for funding the Youth Resource Center diversion team. This critical funding source will not only sustain, but also enhance our efforts to provide essential resources to transition-aged youth in our community to support them in moving out of homelessness and back into housing. I want to specifically highlight the unique nature of our diversion program and their multifaceted approach to ending homelessness. Our diversion team members is the first person that the youth see when they're presenting to the youth shelter for the very first time. This might be the first time they ever enter homelessness. We work to immediately divert them out of homelessness, or if unsuccessful, to complete an intake and orientation to center. From there, we have been highly successful in providing housing first services to youth, making unique case plans to move youth back into housing. A notable recent statistic demonstrating our success is that in the last 4 months, among the 205 individuals who have completed an intake at the Youth Resource Center diversion team, 25 were successfully diverted and 34 successfully exited to a positive housing destination. Our program work and are effective in breaking the cycles of generational homelessness and stopping the flow of individuals entering our adult shelter systems. Approving this grant means more than just allocating resources. It's a reaffirmation of our county's commitment to compassion, to progress, and to ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to thrive, regardless of their circumstances. Thank you once again for your leadership and support on this subject, and we look forward to our continuing partnership in creating a future where every person in the county knows that they're valued. Thank you.
I just wanted to acknowledge that Mayor Hales has joined us, as well as Kelly Chalberg from Draper. And Wendy is in the audience from Harriman.
Next up, we have Amber from Guadalupe School.
Hi, my name is Amber Christensen, and I have the honor of being the Director of Adult Education at Guadalupe School. I just want to say thank you for recommending us for funding for the next 24-25 fiscal year. As a result of this funding, we will continue to be able to offer instruction to help low-income adults become literate, numerate, and obtain the knowledge and skills necessary for employment and self-advocacy. Studies show that participation in 100 hours of adult education on average results in a 9,000 increase in annual annual earnings. We provide English language acquisition as well as economic resources such as job training and placement referrals. Instruction not only includes English, but also citizenship exam prep, work skills prep, digital literacy, and family literacy. Guadalupe also offers free childcare for all of our programs and free transportation for our largest evening program. We currently serve about 230 students, yet we only have 4 full-time teachers and 2 part-time teachers. We are a resourceful program because we utilize community volunteers who act as learning coaches. Each volunteer learning coach reports directly to one of our professional English language acquisition specialists who manages the instructional group by creating a structured lesson plan for each class for the learning coach to follow. This model permits a 1-to-4 student-to-teacher ratio, deeply personalized learning, and optimal attention that is ideal for students with disabilities, learning disabilities, mental health limitations, students coming from trauma, and older students. This model has resulted in effective academic readiness and personal mentoring across the board. Our learning coaches also act as vital community and cultural resources. In fact, I believe that our students are teaching our community volunteers as well, so that in the end, everyone has a deeper intercultural awareness. We are the only program of this kind in that both learning coaches and students are on site. We provide a community where students get the support of both a learning coach and interaction and feedback from an English language acquisition specialist. Our model has strong, lasting, positive, successful results. Guadalupe has consistently been a strong program since its inception in 1966. We ended last fiscal year number 1 with the highest post-testing rate and the highest level gains in the state. And for the past 3 months, we have continued to be number 1 in the state for post-testing and level gains. Thank you. Because of this funding, we will be able to continue to serve our average annual enrollment of over 400 students. We will be able to continue to break the cycle of intergenerational poverty. We will be able to continue to transform lives through education. Thank you.
I also wanted to mention that Mayor Silvestrini has just joined us as well, online.
Up next, we have Michelle from the Road Home.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Michelle Flynn. I serve as Executive Director of the Road Home. I want to first thank Salt Lake County, the Salt Lake County team, who run a really great program and informed program to review these applications, as well as the volunteers who served on the committee for the recommendations to continue funding through CDBG to support our homeless resource centers, and through the Emergency Solutions Grant and tenant-based rental assistance to support our rapid rehousing programs. The Road Home operates 4 different emergency shelter homeless resource center programs in Salt Lake City, South Salt Lake City, Midvale City, and Sandy, serving families with children as well as single men and single women, and medically vulnerable and older adults in our newest program in Sandy, a total of approximately 950 people a night in those programs. So the funding that comes from the urban cities really is beneficial to help us support those programs, combined with state funding, we are able to take that to our private funders and show the support across the entire county and the state and get the additional private funding that we need to fully operate those facilities. The tenant-based rental assistance and emergency solutions grant funding is focused on housing. And that's what we are about at the Road Home: safe places for people to stay and connections for people to get back into their own home with the kinds of connections and support services that will help them remain housed. The tenant-based rental assistance and emergency solutions grants are unique because they allow us up to 2 years of rental assistance funding. And the majority of our rapid rehousing program funding is much shorter term than that. These two programs allow us to extend rents in this very, very challenging crisis of high rents that we have right now in our community and communities across our country. We really need to be able to provide more than just a few months worth of rental assistance. So these two programs that are funded by this team here are so essential to us, particularly to help the families who we are helping move out of our facility in Midvale. Every day, every week, families are moving out. I get the honor of hearing from our staff every week who send out emails and talk about the individuals and the families who have moved out, and hear the stories and hear the words that they share, that they hear from our guests as they're moving into housing. And there was one last week from an individual case manager who was moving a gentleman out of the Pamela Atkinson Resource Center in South Salt Lake, and talked about how this gentleman was so excited and a little nervous and kind of unbelieving that he was going to be able to move out into his apartment. And it wasn't until they were in the car driving there that he took that big sigh and was able to really express how excited he was, and told our staff person how grateful he was for the support he got in South Salt Lake at that facility, and particularly for our kitchen team who provided him with a bin full of food so he could be started for that first week, and talked about the fact that he was so excited to be able to have a place for his father to come over and visit him. And it's those stories that really keep us going and help us to understand not only why those homeless resource centers are so important, but that we have the resources to help people get that boost into housing that they need. And we so appreciate the support of this group. We definitely need more and with the needs that are facing our community. And we're working with the state and across all the partners to ensure that we can meet those needs in this year going forward. Thank you.
Next, we have Amanda from YWCA.
Good afternoon. Thank you for recommending the YWCA Utah for funding for the CDBG grant. My name is Amanda Thompson, the Public Grants Administrator. YWCA Utah is dedicated to eliminating racism, empowering women, and fostering peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. Since opening our first domestic violence shelter in Utah in 1976, we are the state's oldest, largest, and most comprehensive provider of services for domestic violence survivors and their children. We provide services to approximately 240 domestic violence survivors and their children each night. Last year, 978 domestic violence survivors and their children participated in our programs. On average, over the last 3 years, 35% of our clients are from Salt Lake City, while 81% are from Salt Lake County. 54% are children who were forced to flee domestic violence with a non-abusive parent. Our programs include a 24-hour domestic violence crisis hotline and walk-in services, a safe, confidential 181-bed shelter with daily meals, safety planning, advocacy, and a teen program, the Salt Lake Area Family Justice Center, a one-stop shop for victim services with housing, legal aid, law enforcement, and medical services. The Kathleen Robinson Huntsman Apartments, KRH, offers 36 deeply affordable units for survivors who are rendered homeless due to domestic violence. We provide safety, security, case management, time to develop skills, and access resources to transition to independent living. We respectfully request $99,579 to renovate the aging elevator installed in 1998 at YWCA Utah's KRH Apartments. This will bring the elevator up to modern standards and preserve 36 units of deeply low-cost housing for families who have experienced domestic violence in Salt Lake County. The elevator has an aging hydraulic system, resulting in high maintenance costs, frequent shutdowns, emergency service calls, and safety-related current concerns. Without prompt action, elevator failure could force us to close or limit the use of the top 2 floors. This project will replace the elevator's critical components, bringing the elevator up to modern standards. The KRH apartments are the sole domestic violence specific transition housing in Salt Lake County. It serves 44 adults and 112 children, totaling 156 individuals annually. Over its projected 20-year lifespan, a renovated elevator is expected to benefit 3,292 individuals and 971 families. While the tangible outcome of this project is the renovation of the elevator, its impact extends far beyond shaping the lives of domestic violence survivors for generations. Survivors have often endured years of physical, emotional, and financial abuse, leaving them unable to secure employment, open a bank account, or build savings. KRH provides survivors with an extended support system and extra time to work on personal goals. We sincerely thank you for your time and consideration of our proposal.
Next up, we have Laura from Rape Recovery Center.
Hi, my name is Laura with the Rape Recovery Center, and I am the Mobile Response Team Coordinator, and I am speaking on critical crisis services for survivors of sexual violence. At the Rape Recovery Center, our mission is to provide comprehensive support and empowerment to survivors of sexual violence, fostering healing and resilience in our community. I stand before you today to advocate for the continued funding of the Rape Recovery Center. Our services are critical in addressing the pervasive issue of sexual violence, and the stark reality of sexual assault within our community demands our attention. Recent statistics underscore this, revealing that 1 in 3 women, 1 in 6 men, and 1 in 2 transgender individuals will experience sexual violence in their lifetime. These figures don't merely represent data, they depict real individuals whose lives have been profoundly affected by the trauma of sexual violence. It falls upon all of us to fulfill our collective responsibility by offering them the support and resources necessary to heal and reconstruct their lives. The Rape Recovery Center has been a beacon of hope and healing for survivors for 50 years, offering a wide range of vital services, including forensic exam advocacy, crisis intervention, therapy, and prevention education. However, the demand for our services continues to grow exponentially, underscoring the urgent need for sustained financial assistance. The support extended via the CDBG grant continues to hold immense significance in our mission to end sexual violence. In closing, I urge you to acknowledge the pressing need for this continued funding and the significant ripple effect it will bring to our community. By committing to the Rape Recovery Center, you're not just offering essential aid to survivors, you're also sending a resolute message that sexual violence has no place in our community. Together, we have the opportunity to forge a safer and more empathetic society for everyone. Together, we are making a difference, one survivor, one healing journey at a time. Thank you for your time.
Can you hold on? Mayor Smolka has a question.
Yeah.
So do you serve people who reside in Salt Lake County or people that have an act of violence within Salt Lake County?
So we support survivors in Salt Lake County and actually Tooele County. We just extended our services. And then we also support survivors who come into Salt Lake County seeking a forensic exam at one of the 18 hospitals and the Family Justice Center within Salt Lake County.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Mary T. from First Step House.
Hi, I'm Mary T. Calhoun, the Development Director with First Step House. And I greatly appreciate the opportunity to speak with you about First Step House's home funding recommendations. We are so grateful to the Council for recommending us for funding in 2 of the home categories. The home funding that we've been recommended for will help more than 70 people make a successful transition to stable housing after being homeless. So First Step House serves very low-income adults who have cycled in and out of homelessness, hospitals, and jail. So many of our clients don't have a stable place to go back to, a stable place to call home when they finish a 3-month treatment program. Case managers at First Step House are working with clients to develop housing goals and address whatever factors led them to be homeless or have that unstable housing in the past. Some clients move into transitional recovery housing before they move into permanent housing. And it's an in-between step so that clients have a chance to get their feet under them and build that stability before moving into housing on their own. So home rental rehabilitation funding is going to help close the funding gap, or it is going to close the funding gap on 17 new units of that transitional recovery housing. We have an apartment building that will be opening, we hope, later this summer called Trolley Lane Apartments. And so this funding makes that possible. So First Step House case managers also help people transition into permanent housing. The rental market is so expensive that it's nearly impossible for someone who's just graduated from treatment to afford the first month rent, the security deposit, and short-term assistance can help clients avoid going into debt and actually keep the housing that they get into after that treatment experience. It gives them a chance to get a stable income and avoid going back into homelessness. We have requested tenant-based rental assistance, and what we've been recommended for will allow us to provide rental and deposit assistance to 20 people next year. So that's 20 more people that will not return to homelessness, will keep their stability. So we just really want to thank you for your recommendations. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you and apply for this funding. Thank you so much.
Next is Jessica Tanner from First Step House.
Hello, I'm Jessica Tanner with First Step House. I'm the grants coordinator there. I'm also grateful to have the opportunity to speak a bit about First Step House and our programs. Mary T did a great job of introducing us and who we serve. And we're very grateful to be recommended for renewal CDBG funding for some of our supportive service programs. As Mary T mentioned, we provide addiction treatment, housing, and critical supportive services. One of these supportive services that's been recommended for funding is our employment preparation and placement program. This program helps First Step Out's clients, both in our treatment recovery programs and in housing, work toward a meaningful career. And this has long-term benefits like maintaining addiction recovery, maintaining housing, and just having overall better mental health and wellness. Last year, we served 114 people in our employment preparation and placement program. We're also grateful that our case management program has been recommended for renewal CDBG funding. Like Mary T mentioned, this helps clients in our treatment programs transition to stable housing after they've been in substance use disorder treatment. Every client that enters there works with a case manager, and case managers help clients address any barriers to stable housing and obtain and maintain that housing and follow up to make sure that they're staying housed. And we serve over 600 people in our case management program every year. Lastly, I want to share a little bit about our request for hard cost funding for renovations at one of our treatment facilities called Fair Park. Fair Park is a historic building that we want to keep in the best condition that we can for our clients. With this funding, we would be able to replace historic windows and repaint the interior of the building. This will help us increase energy efficiency in the building, maintain a historic place, and create a welcoming space for our clients for years to come. So again, we're very thankful for the recommendations for renewal funding and for the opportunity to speak today. Salt Lake County's partnership and support for these programs is vital and has long-lasting impact on First Step House clients and the community. Thank you.
Next up is Wendy from Harriman City.
Hello, mayors. It's good to be in front of you today. I just want to take a minute and say what incredible work I've heard. It's hard for me not to applaud after all these presentations because the programs and services that these folks are offering are just incredible. Harriman City has requested funding from the 24-25 CDBG grant for the purposes of retrofitting Old City Hall to be more energy efficient and to facilitate expanded programs for the community. Old City Hall was first built in 1997 by the community for the community. When the city incorporated in 1999, the Harriman Lions Club allowed the newly elected council to use the building as the first city hall. In September of 2017, City Hall was relocated to a larger building. In 2023, the Harriman City Council agreed to utilize the building for community purposes. In 2024, the city entered into an agreement with the Columbus Adult Education Center, which allows them to utilize the basement floor of the newly named Harriman Community Center. They opened their classes and programs to hundreds of refugees and immigrants on March 9th, 2024. The main level of Harriman City Hall is currently vacant, but will be remodeled to facilitate programs and services for our growing aging adult programs and services. The first year funding will be combined with funding from the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant to upgrade HVAC systems, replace electrical components and lighting systems to be more energy efficient. Some demolition of the first floor will also occur in the first year. Future phases will include the removal of walls, carpet, a complete kitchen remodel, and a replacement for the roof. Harriman City is excited to be able to share this once community-centric facility with the community again. We appreciate the recommendation of our funding request. Thank you.
Next up, we have Shannon from the In-Between.
Good afternoon. My name is Shannon Sweat-Tangaro, and I serve as the Advocacy and Development Specialist at the In-Between. I'm here to speak on the grants that we're being recommended for. I would like to thank you all for past, present, and future support. To date, our organization has provided a home for 135 individuals to experience death with dignity, and countless others to recuperate from medical emergencies. Without the In-Between, our residents would not have access to hospice care. They wouldn't have access to the medical treatments that they need. We are so grateful for this continued partnership as we work to solve complex issues faced by our unhoused individuals who are experiencing medical emergencies. We really love working together with the community to make homelessness rare, brief, and non-recurring. At this time, I kind of want to just share a little short story about one of our miracles, Patty. Patty came to us just over 2 years ago with a diagnosis of cancer and 6 weeks to live. Given the support at the end, sorry, I'm getting a little bit emotional. The needed medical treatments and a home with a surrogate family, she recovered, and Patty is now living independently and cancer-free at SharePoint, which is one of our community partners. We just extend our heartfelt appreciation to this council for your ongoing support, and your approval will enable us to continue to provide compassionate care as well as solutions for those most vulnerable in our community. Thank you.
Next, we have Maddie from Wasatch Community Gardens.
Hi, everybody. My name is Maddie Judge, and I am the Director of Programs at Wasatch Community Gardens. I'm here to speak on the recommendation for continued funding for our Green Team Job Training Program. We're very excited for that recommendation, so thank you very much. Just to emphasize the impact of this program, it allows us to hire women who are facing or experiencing homelessness as members of our farm crew at our urban farm. These women are able to continue growing, to set some goals for themselves for personal achievements, whether that be getting into housing, financial literacy, working through criminal justice systems, et cetera. At the same time, they are able to build job training skills that are transferable when they graduate from our farm program and help support them in their next moves in life. While they're at the farm, they are, in the spring, which is our current cohort, they're very busy growing all of the seedlings that are sold at our annual spring plant sale. It's 45,000 plus plants that get to go out into the community, and they're majority food producing plants, so that helps with food access across the board. The seedlings sold at that sale support our programming, and any leftovers at the end are donated back to community partners that we work with. These women are cultivating their own personal growth while they're in the program. They're gaining greater autonomy over their life situations, and they get support from WCG's staff to do this. Our farm manager works with them very closely on the farm skills. We have a dedicated job training program director who helps them with a lot of the job training skills. And we also have an advocate who helps them navigate the case management systems and get them in touch with social services that they may need. They also find community with each other, which is really special. We have a number of folks who are members of our family, we like to call it, our alumni, and so they're supporting each other throughout this journey as well. And folks have let us know that it really can turn their life around and give them a new perspective on what life can be for them after they graduate the program. All of the food that they're growing on the farm outside of those seedlings goes back to program participants themselves into WCG programming, and is also donated to our other community partners throughout the county to make sure that food is accessible for other low-income folks as well. And after years of searching for our permanent home for our farm, we now have 2 locations where we will be running this program, this successful program, and expanding offerings to the community. So thanks so much for your support.
Next up, we have Sarah from CDCU.
Hi, this is Matt Cranbule, speaking on behalf of Sarah Beaumont. I'm the Director of Real Estate for the Community Development Corporation of Utah. CDCU appreciates the county's willingness to consider our request for funding to assist with the construction of the affordable housing development, the Morrissey in Mill Creek City. The Morrissey will provide 64 affordable units for seniors in our community and will include 5 residential units for formerly homeless individuals and 9 units that will be fully ADA accessible. The Morrissey will include a range of community amenities for our residents, including a community room and kitchen, a wellness and fitness room, community garden, and community computers. These funds by the county will allow these units to be offered to individuals earning between 30% and 50% of the area median income. CDCU would like to thank the Mayor of Mill Creek City, Jeff Silverstreet, for their support throughout the creation of this project and contributing to the success of affordable housing. We are grateful for the community's willingness to consider our request for this funding and its support for affordable housing. Thank you.
Next, we have Janice from Housing Connect.
Hello. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today regarding 2 of our requests for home funds. I'm Janice Kimball. I'm the CEO for Housing Connect, and we are the housing authority for the County of Salt Lake. Our mission is to connect individuals and communities to affordable housing, and we serve approximately 5,000 households each month. The first application I'll speak to is our tenant-based rent assistance program under the home funds. This request is for $200,000 and will provide rent assistance to 30 individuals. This is a long-term partnership with Salt Lake County Behavioral Health, and service providers that are contracted through behavioral health identify the clients, refer them, and provide the supportive services, and we provide the rent assistance. The second application is for $420,000 to support the substantial renovation of New City Plaza. That's the building just east of you guys, 299 units. It was formerly public housing. It's 50 years old, and we were able to take it out of the public housing and put it on a Section 8 platform, which allowed us to leverage funds to take on the renovation and be able to preserve it. So going forward, we'll have, it will serve extremely low-income individuals. Once we're done with the renovation, it should be on stable footing for the next 30 or 40 years. And just to give you an idea of who's being served there now, the average age of the individuals living there is 71, and the average income is right around $16,000 a year. So very low income. So thank you for your time today.
Up next is Jason from Assist.
Dear Mayors, it is a pleasure for me to be with you this afternoon, especially because it means I don't have to be sitting at my computer right now. I am Jason Wheeler, the Executive Director of Assist Community Design Center. We are essentially a nonprofit architecture firm, and we have been leveraging design and construction throughout your communities for the last 55 years to try to help improve the built environment for residents within your individual cities. To achieve the same, our organization performs emergency home repairs, accessibility retrofits, and aging in place modifications for people with reduced mobility, and more traditional design and architecture services for other nonprofit agencies, including many of the agencies that are here today. Over the last 25 years, we have invested over $7 million of CDBG funding, specifically from Salt Lake County, in each of your communities, building ramps and accessible bathrooms, repairing roofs, fixing electrical systems, replacing faulty plumbing systems, and installing furnaces for people so that they don't have to be cold in the wintertime in each of your communities. We're very grateful for the recommendation for continued funding for the 2024-25 fiscal year, and look forward to continuing to work with the county to help residents stay in their homes. Thank you.
Next, we have Sharon from the City of South Salt Lake.
Hello, and thanks for all of you for participating in this. And I always like to thank the staff at Salt Lake County for being very professional and expertise at this, and really their commitment to supporting low-income households who we really do have to go the extra mile for. So on our application this year, we recognize the importance of both low, moderate income housing and jobs, and our city is a home to a lot of those. Mayor Wood is here, and appreciate her being a part of the committee and supporting this particular project. At the 3300 South Track Station, we have had a station there for over 25 years now, but it's been one of the harder ones to redevelop because there's so many industrial businesses and commercial businesses, and it's a really great employment center, but it also is really a good opportunity to continue to add affordable housing and multi-unit multifamily housing. There have been a couple great projects in the last few years, including Sharon Gardens and Mill Creek Station, that have afforded those opportunities to people for a great place to live. But there's not really great transportation infrastructure there due to the way it was built years ago for primarily businesses and industry. So we're still playing catch up on a regular basis to get sidewalks, street lighting, safe crossings, and things like that on and all of our transit stations, but particularly 33rd South is the hardest one we have right now. So this request is putting in sidewalks and street lighting for a particular stretch adjacent to some vacant property that would be an excellent site for some new housing, but it's kind of just stalled, and the neighborhood has got its challenges in appealing to people. So this continues to help us develop that neighborhood character there, and we appreciate your support.
We now have Stuart Rouse from Legal Aid Society.
Good afternoon, and thank you for staying awake for this long. But so many compelling organizations and wonderful services that they all provide. I agree. I'd like to applaud all of them. I also want to thank the committee and the staff. There are so many needs in our communities, and that they're able to guide us and sift through these needs, and you provide the funding for these needs services. Appreciation all around. Legal Aid Society of Salt Lake was 100 years old 2 years ago, so we've been around a long time. We provide legal representation for low-income families in family law cases such as divorce and custody, and we also provide full-scale representation for victims of domestic violence to get civil protective orders and civil stalking injunctions. We appreciate greatly the recommendation for our domestic violence victim assistance program, where we provide, like I said, full-scale representation for victims and their families. Most of those victims come from referrals from your law enforcement officers that go out in the middle of the night and deal with domestic violence disturbances, and from the shelters that you also fund throughout the county, folks that are going to shelters and from these hotlines. Not everybody comes to us from the police, but a lot of them do. And so we are able to do the intake either in person at one of the 2 courthouses in the valley. We're also working with the YWCA to work at the Family Justice Center and do intakes there. But then, and we can do that either remote or over the phone. During COVID, we were able to we had to do everything remotely, and now it's nice for them to be able to say, I want to come down and meet with someone in person, or I'm really busy doing my 3 jobs and taking care of my 5 kids, and it's easier for me to do it over the phone. So we do the intake interview. We file all the forms with the court that they need to review, and then our attorneys represent them at the court hearings. We assist about 2,500 people a year in this program. Unfortunately, this year, I think it's going to go up to about 3,000 just because of the increased numbers. But one of the things that I'm so proud about this is we're one of those upstream services that prevents homelessness. If we can keep parents and children in homes, then they're not having to deal with or utilize the limited services of the shelters and some of these rehousing programs. And I'm also happy to say that people are alive today because of these services, and we truly appreciate the long support of the county. Thank you.
Okay. That concludes all our scheduled speakers, and I have no submitted written comments to share with the mayors. So I'm going to pass the time back over to Lisa Hartman.
Hi, I realized I didn't introduce myself at the beginning of the meeting. I'm Associate Deputy Mayor Lisa Hartman, and Mayor Wilson is in Washington, D.C., representing Salt Lake County this week, and so I was lucky enough to chair the meeting today. I really appreciate everyone coming today and sharing their stories and just providing some additional information on your applications. That's super helpful for us and very moving of everything that you're doing in our community to make it a better place for our residents and families. I'd just like to open it up now to the other mayors, if you have comments or questions that you would like to provide. Mayor Stevenson?
I'll just say thanks for everybody for taking the time. I know there's immense amount of work that go in on the county side, but also for everybody just taking the time to push in these applications. And I know that many of your organizations are relatively small. And so the time that takes, just really appreciate you being here and talking to us.
Thank you. Mayor Barney?
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect when I came in today, but I am humbled to be here and to hear the stories and the great work that's going on in our community. It is impressive to me that there's so many organizations doing so many things, a lot of you in the same vein, but offer a unique niche in that area. I'm thinking of the homelessness and the domestic abuse and violence and the rape situations. Like, this is incredible work, and it kind of restores my faith in humanity a little bit to hear them and hear about the work you're doing. And so thank you for taking your time to be here, to share those stories and help us see and understand where this money goes and the good that it does.
Mayor's online. Would you like to make any comments?
Jeff Silverstream, I'll just echo the remarks that have been made before. Thanks to the CDAC committee and everybody in the county for the work on this, and for the providers and the grant people that are asking for funding. Happy to be able to evaluate this. It is like the Mayor Megan just mentioned, it's heartwarming. So thank you very much, everybody.
This is Mayor Bush. I would just like to speak and just say this is one of my favorite times of year to be able to go through these, all the hard work with the grants and all the hard work that the committee does reviewing these grants. This is my favorite time because this is great organizations that come forward doing amazing services for our people. And so I want to thank everybody again this year to be part of this process. So thank you.
All right, well, I am going to, this concludes the public hearing. I just want to provide a little bit of context of next steps. The mayors will be meeting at another time to discuss the applications and approve those that are going forward. That will be in the next 2 weeks, and we'll let your organizations know what the result is from that meeting with the mayors. Again, thank you for your time, and I'd also want to give a big shout out to our HCD team. Big lift, lots of effort, lots of time these last 8 months, and we just couldn't do this without you. And to the community organizations, again, thank you for all you do. We are adjourned officially.